In the Fourth Ninja World War, as he watched the coffin of his ancestor, Patriarch Uchiha, rise up ahead, Uchiha Akira, who was then the fifth-generation Flame Shadow, Ghost Killing Team Rizhu, Sea Emperor, and S.level hero of the Heroes Association, decided to press him back. Chapter 1. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The moon scattered over the tower, the wind swept through the leaves, and it was late at night. It is now the 35th year of the Kiba era, and a full 3 years have passed since the outbreak of the Second Ninja War. The once prosperous leaves of wood now appear somewhat withered and silent in the deep night. In order to prevent spies from causing chaos during the war, the curfew imposed by Kiba has been in place for a long time, and the only movement in the late night may have been issued during ninja patrols by the dark and security forces. Yuzhi clan land, in a medium-sized room. Under the dim yellow light, Yuzhi looked at himself in the mirror with a bright mirror. In the mirror, he was dazzled by a pair of crimson single jade writing wheel eyes. Uchiha. Is it a mirror? Looking at the young and handsome face in the mirror, he couldn't help but shift his gaze to the watch on his wrist and mutter to himself. To be honest, he thought he would come to the Hokage world, but he didn't expect it to be in such a form. Because he was originally a reincarnator who had just entered the space of reincarnation, before he could carry out his first mission, an internal rebellion broke out within the space of reincarnation, and even blew up the world teleportation device, causing him to be sent to this world as he had just stepped into the portal and was preparing to carry out his first mission. Even inexplicably, he became a member of the Uchiha tribe. In the state of opening the Sharingan, the operation of the entire world seems to have slowed down in the eyes of Uchiha Akira. This is not really slowing down, but rather the dynamic vision bonus brought by the Sharingan, along with extremely sharp insight. Under the gaze of the Sharingan, several lines of small characters clearly appeared on the screen of the Reincarnator's watch. Reincarnator ID 95277, current task, at #. ****. Incomplete information, lost connection to the main brain of the reincarnation space. According to common sense, even if one is in various heavens and realms, the reincarnation watch should be able to establish a connection with the reincarnation space and receive tasks. However, from the current situation I'm afraid the rebellion within the space of reincarnation will ultimately be won by the higher reincarnators who initiated the rebellion. The space of reincarnation may no longer exist, and the purpose of this watch may only be to observe time like other ordinary watches. Feeling the consumption of chakra from opening the Sharingan for a long time, Yuzhi Mingjing blinked several times and finally closed the Sharingan after several attempts. After all, this body is only 10 years old now. Although the original owner's performance in ninja school is extremely excellent in memory, the chakra capacity is ultimately limited by the body, making it difficult to support the Sharingan for a long time. Speaking of which, these single-hooked jade Sharingan were also the Sharingan that he opened when he had just crossed over this body, devouring and merging the soul of the original owner, and his spiritual energy surged. After activating the bloodstain, the quality and quantity of one's chakra will undergo a phased improvement. With the improvement of control over the writing wheel eye, this situation should not occur again. After glancing at the clock on the wall, Mingjing realized that there was still some time before resting, so he turned around and sat on the desk, turning on the desk lamp. On the desk, there were scattered papers and assignments from the ninja school, as well as several pens that had run out of ink, and some other things. Yuzhi Mingjing had just picked up a notebook on the table, intending to record information about the future plot of this world in his mind, but as soon as he finished writing, he paused on paper. Ninjas undoubtedly have an extremely powerful ability to obtain intelligence, and if they write it down themselves, they must be prepared to be discovered by others. Japanese definitely cannot be used. The similarity between Chinese and Japanese is very high, and the difficulty of deciphering is not high. Even in Pinyin or English, it is equivalent to a systematic language and script, with clear usage patterns. If it is an organization specialized in intelligence such as secret agencies or intelligence groups, as long as there are certain samples, the patterns can be found and gradually deciphered. In fact, several simple ciphertext cracking methods have been taught in the ninja school alone. This is not safe either. The tip of the pen lingered on the paper for a long time, eventually marking a big black spot. Yuzhibo Mingjing finally withdrew the pen and did not continue writing. He just turned off the desk lamp, sat back at the bedside, and quietly pondered the future path. The identity of my time traveling is actually quite good. Not only do I belong to the Uchiha clan with 6 bloodlines, but my own qualifications can also be considered extremely outstanding, ranking first among the 4th grade students at this ninja school. This is also related to family education, because both of his original parents were Uchiha who had started writing will eyes. Although they were only single Boyu and had been grinding for many years, they were still only moderate ninja. However, with Uchiha as his background, it can also bring him great advantages in the initial stage. Just he remembered the memories of yesterday in his original form and fell silent for a moment. Yesterday, the battle report was sent back from the front line. Mu Shuamao, a member of the Muyi Baya banner, led an elite army to launch a surprise attack on the rear and killed 2 senior officials in Xiayin village, reversing the situation on the front line and greatly boosting the morale of the Muyi villagers. Several casualty lists from the front line, including the names of their original parents, can be sent back at the same time. It was also because of his excessive sadness and mental decline that he was able to take advantage of it. Calm down, close the Sharingan according to previous experience, let Yuzhibo's mirror sigh leisurely, turn off the light and prepare to go to bed. He is too weak now to do anything. But fortunately, there are still more than a decade left until the extermination of the Uchiha clan, and we can only take a step by step and make further plans for the future based on the situation. Early morning. The bright sunshine shone through the gaps in the curtains on the neatly stacked bed. Yuzhibo Mingjing had already washed and dressed neatly, and went to the nearby Yuzhibo hand-burn shop to buy breakfast before hurriedly returning home. Last night, he was carefully receiving the memories left by his original body in order to better understand the intelligence around him. In the morning, the cabin was filled with the sound of flipping boxes and cabinets, ping 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 ping. He wants to search for some useful things in this room. At noon, he only hastily ate bowls and cups of noodles, and Yuzhibo Mingjing became busy again. It wasn't until the afternoon that he finally sorted out some useful things. Firstly, the most important thing is naturally money. He hasn't even graduated from ninja school yet, so he doesn't have much ability to make money. Although the Uchiha clan, as a wealthy family in the ninja world, attach great importance to their own bloodline and take good care of those orphaned members. They provide some money every year to support them, but at most, they are only able to make ends meet and wait for graduation. Chapter 2, Quickly copy your work for me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. But if you want to further cultivate and enhance your strength, you still need to invest a lot of resources, and the money sponsored by the clan alone is not enough. Unless Yuzhibo touched his own eyes with a mirror. The Uchiha clan places a much higher level of importance on people who can open the Sharingan compared to ordinary people. Because being able to activate the Sharingan indicates that your qualifications are not bad, and most importantly, your Uchiha bloodline is pure enough. Forget it, let's first see how much silver there is. Yuzhibo Mingjing looked at the boxes filled with debris in front of him and carefully counted them. The original parents were only moderate in endurance, and generally performed tasks at level C and B, with a salary of 30,000 to 100,000 taels for level C tasks and 80,000 to 200,000 taels for level B tasks. This is only the total amount of remuneration for executing a task. Not only does the village need to withdraw a part of it, but the remaining amount also needs to be distributed with teammates. In addition, since the original parents are ninjas, they also need to supplement their ninja tools and daily cultivation. In this way, the remaining silver will be counted as just over 700,000 yuan. And besides that, the only valuable thing left is a box that was originally hidden under the bed. There are several ninjutsu scrolls among them. The ones inside are basically some conventional Uchiha's fire escape ninjutsu. There are many C.level ones, including common Heobo and Fengxianhuo, while B.level ones only have one Heilonghuo spell. Generally speaking, if a Uchiha has a Sharingan, even if it's just a single Goyu, it's not difficult to learn the conventional C.level ninjutsu. However, B.level ninjutsu often involves changes in the properties and forms of chakras, making it more difficult. Without mastering these changes in the properties and forms of this type of chakra, even if copied through the Sharingan, it is difficult to fully unleash its power. In addition to these fire escape ninjutsu techniques, most of the remaining scrolls are related to Uchiha's hand-sword techniques, such as windmills, Sanji's big sword, and other hand-sword techniques used in conjunction with Sharingan. The last one is the first part of Uchiha wave swordsmanship. These ninjutsu skills should be enough for me to practice for a long time, and in the future, if I improve my ninja level or make military achievements, I can apply to the clan leader to exchange for high-level ninjutsu scrolls. Yuzhibo Mingjing quickly calculated in his heart. These ninjutsu techniques should be sufficient for him to engage in the early stages of cultivation, even to reach a level of moderate ninja similar to his original parents. As for money, it should also be enough to support it, not to mention the support of the family. Even if he shows off his Sharingan, a Uchiha who opened his eyes at the age of only 10 will inevitably attract some attention from the outside world and receive full cultivation from the family. The next day, at 7:30 a.m. Yuzhi, who was still a student, yawned and occasionally greeted some of the tribe members he met according to his memory, carrying his backpack to the ninja school. He stayed up half the night last night to do his homework. The first 2 days were Sundays, and he traveled over on Saturday night. The next day, he was busy organizing his belongings, so he naturally didn't have time to do homework. Mirror, good morning. Arriving at the classroom, a girl with a black-backed puppy in her arms and a face painted with oil smiled and waved at Yuzhibo Mingjing. Good morning. Mingjing replied weakly. He remembers that this is Canine Tomb Claw, with decent grades, but his family has a strong background within the Canine Tomb clan. Mirror. Help. I forgot to write my homework again, please copy it for me. Alright, Jing Tai, Mingjing. Kazuka's claws quickly pulled over the boy who wanted to ask Uchiha Akira for homework copying, and he looked worried at Uchiha Akira, who now looked in a poor condition, before whispering a few words to him. Ah. What, mirror he. After listening, Jing Tai couldn't help but scream. Shut up. Kazuka's paw covered Jing Tai and turned his head to look at the position of the mirror. Just at this moment, Yuzhibo Mingjing had already put his homework aside and lay on the table to catch up on his sleep. When the homeroom teacher, Hino, came in and saw the figure of Uchiha Akira lying on the table, he couldn't help but sigh slightly. He also stopped the classmates next to him who wanted to remind Uchiha Akira. For Mingjing, too much has happened in the past 2 days, let him rest first. After finishing speaking, Kurano Daichan picked up the textbook and walked up to the podium to start teaching. This class itself is a review of some important knowledge points. In the eyes of Kurano Oshima, Uchiha Akira has already mastered these things very well, and it's okay not to listen at this time. In addition, there has been such a change in his family, so it's better to let this child rest well for a while. This situation persisted until noon before it changed. Because Uchiha Akira woke up and was hungry. I actually slept all morning. Yuzhibo Mingjing suddenly realized it. However, he felt that the desks in this school were indeed easy to fall asleep as long as you lay on them, and they slept soundly. At this time, it was already noon, and all the students took out the bentos they had brought from home and started eating lunch. Damn it. Yuzhibo's mirror patted the backpack. When I left in the morning, I was confused and forgot to bring my bento. At the same time, Kanzuka Pa, who planned to feed Haimaru dog food before eating, noticed this scene. Mirror. Kazuka's claws suddenly called out to Uchiha Akira. What's up? It's like this, my mother prepared a bit too much tianfu luo in the morning. To avoid waste, could you help me solve it a bit? This. Yuzhibo Mingjing was about to answer when nearby Jing Tai suddenly patted the table again. Der Spiegel. I'm full. But there's still one dim sum that hasn't been opened yet. I can't eat it, so I'll leave it to you. Don't waste food. Jing Tai smiled and handed a box of pastries to Yuzhibo Mingjing. Thank you very much, Claw, and Jing Tai. Yuzhibo Mingjing also reacted at this moment and nodded at Jing Tai with a smile. Hehe, I want to become a person of Hokage. When encountering difficulties with my companions, it's not normal for me to lend a helping hand. Jing Tai proudly stepped on the table and gave himself a thumbs up. Jing Tai, I advise you to be careful and not stand so high. Seeing this, Kazuka's paw helplessly caressed his forehead, even Kuramaru beside him couldn't help but shake his head. Mingjing silently looked at the scene before her and suddenly smiled. It seems that no matter which world it is both cruel and beautiful. Chapter 3. Changes in the battle situation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the same time. In the Huiying office. 3 generations of adults, Elder Mito has sent an urgent report in Rain Country. It seems that there are signs of alliance between Shan Jiao Yuban Song and Yan Yin. The situation is critical and we request someone to provide support. A secret agent half knelt on the ground and reported to the monkey-flying sun slayer. I know, you go down first. By the way, call for Orochimaru, Zilai, and Gangsho. Ape Flying Sun / waved his hand, indicating that the dark side should retreat first and go to notify Orochimaru and others. Then he picked up his pipe and began to ponder carefully. Recently, there were 2 major events that occurred in Mai, one well-known and the other limited within a certain range. The first thing was that Mu Shuomao, the leader of the elite ninja team in the White Tooth Flag of Muyi, penetrated deep into the enemy's rear and killed 2 high-level officials in Shine Village, greatly saving the disadvantaged situation of the Western Front. Chi Mu Shuomao became famous in one battle and shook the ninja world. And the second one is a long story. Yun-In from the northeast attempted to invade the Fire Country, but the 3rd generation Thunder Shadow himself was incredibly strong. Helpless, Ape Flying Sun / could only personally put on his armor and block Yun-In back. In the end, the 2 sides were deadlocked, and Yun-In chose to negotiate. Ape Flying Sun / gladly accepted. The result of this peace talk, called a peace talk, was actually a trap set by Yun-In, who wanted to steal the 9-tailed man Zhu Li from the wooden leaves. Fortunately, he was rescued by his obedient disciple's son Bofeng Shui Men. I thought this matter would come to an end, but after that, Yun-In prepared to send troops on the grounds that Mu Yi had killed the peace envoy sent by Yun-In. In addition, the battlefield on the other side of the Rain Country, at this time, Kiba is equivalent to a 3-line battle, with limited strength. He was about to send troops soon, and to ensure that his Hokage would not lose, he had already dispatched a considerable portion of the main force from the village to the north. At the same time, in order to avoid no one completing the tasks in the village and avoid excessive emptiness within the village, he began to have some senior students from the ninja school graduate early. Now Mito Menyen is requesting additional reinforcements, so it can be expected that there will soon be a shortage of troops in Kiba. Thinking of this, Monkey Flying Sun waved his hand and signed an order, requiring the ninja school to start early graduation assessments for 4th and 5th grade students. As for why there is no 6th grade, that's because 6th grade students have already graduated early, and there are no 6th grade students in this year's ninja school. Bang! The door of the Huiying office was kicked open. The person who kicked the door was Gangsho, and behind her were Orochimaru and Jiraiya. Old man, we're here. Gangsho sat in a relaxed position opposite the Monkey Flying Sun / as if he had returned home from the Hokage office. Although strictly speaking, Kiba is indeed her family's, and she played in this Hokage office while the first and second generations were still alive. Ape Flying Sun / was no exception to this, took off his pipe in his mouth and looked at his three proud disciples in front of him. "I have something very important to entrust to the three of you," said Monkey Flying Sun with a serious expression. "On the other side of Rain Country, there are signs of alliance with Iwayan in Banzang, and there is also Shawayan working in it. Mito Gate Elder is struggling alone, and I plan to have you bring 2,000 ninjas from the reserve forces to provide support." The Kingdom of Rain. Gonsho's eyes were complex, and he glanced at Orochimaru. Her younger brother, also a disciple of Orochimaru, Shengshu, accidentally fell into Iwaki's trap 2 years ago in the Rain Country and was killed by a detonating talisman. Orochimaru fell silent for a moment and asked, "Old man, what exactly do you want to do?" The situation in Rain Country is chaotic, with not only the armies of the three major powers partially hidden, but also the local influence of Rain Country, Yuin Village, cannot be underestimated, almost turning into a quagmire of war for my. Monkey Flying Sun Slayer sighed and continued. "What I want you to do is to cooperate with Yen to stabilize the situation, prioritizing the preservation of the main forces in the village. After a while, I will lead another group of ninjas north to block Yanin. On the east side, after Shuomao did that, you have already gained a great advantage. As long as there is a certain breakthrough on both sides, we can open up the situation and improve the situation in the village." Teacher Ape Flying. Orochimaru suddenly spoke up and interrupted. "Why not consider opening up the situation directly from the Rain Country? The situation in Rain Country is quite chaotic. It's because it's quite chaotic that the most likely breakthrough will be made." Ape Flying Sun / turned his gaze to the eyes of his most outstanding disciple. These are a pair of rational, confident, and wise eyes that always make the third generation think of their teacher, and the second generation of Hokage has 1,000 hands. That is a perfect ninja who is even more talented than Orochimaru. If one of the 4 countries and 4 forces changes, then the situation within Yuzhi's country will immediately change. What do you plan to do? Monkey Flying Sun / asked. We are looking for cooperation with Banzang because the positions of the 3 major powers are the most difficult to change and there are fundamental conflicts of interest. As a local power, Banzang is probably the one who hopes to break the current situation. If we continue to fight like this, in a few years, Yuin will completely lose its potential for war. But Banzo is now trying to join forces with Iwayan. That's because Mai is too strong, Shine is too aggressive due to poverty, and Banzang hopes to find a relatively weaker ally to ensure his position in the alliance. A few years ago, Iwayan and Iwayan went to war, and the second generation Shueying and the second generation Taiying died together. After that, the scale of the war between the 2 villages continued to expand, and most of Iwayan's main forces were fighting with the third generation Taiying Inoki in Iwayan, leaving the forces remaining in Rain Country weak. What do you plan to do? Monkey Flying Sun / looked at Orochimaru and asked. It's very simple. Orochimaru licked his lips and a hesitant and satisfied smile appeared on his pale face. As long as we make Banzang feel that the ultimate winner is undoubtedly Kiba, he will take the initiative to join forces with us. Banzang's strength is very strong, not inferior to me. Even if you 3 work together, you may not be able to surpass him. However, this can be used as an alternative plan. If there is room for operation, you can try it. Monkey Flying Sun Slaying still felt uneasy and reminded his disciple. He has a deep understanding of the strength and talent of his 3 students, and he has no doubt that his 3 disciples will also become ninjas whose strength is not inferior to his own in the future. However, their strength is still slightly inferior to those who can match their strength. Chapter 4. Early Graduation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. And Banzo's strength is no less than that of the previous 5 shadows. Excluding the first generation of the ninja god Hokage, who pacified troubled times. Banzo's strength can even rank at the forefront of the previous 5 shadows. Don't worry, old man. Zilai also patted his chest. War will definitely come to an end in our hands. Yuzhibo Mingjing didn't know at this moment that he would soon graduate early. It's no use knowing now. He's just an ordinary ninja school student, at best with better grades and Uchiha's bloodline. He has opened up his writing wheel and can't interfere with what the big shots in the village want to do. At this moment, he is still seriously studying the ninjutsu left by his parents. The hand-sword technique of Yuzhi Boyu requires strong eyesight and flexible fingers. The former can fully meet the needs with the help of the writing wheel eye, while the latter can only rely on practice. But this body's talent is indeed very good, and it seems that Yuzhibo generally has extraordinary talent in the field of wielding swords. In just a few days, those wielding swords have already been played out in various ways in the hands of Yuzhibo Mingjing. So, Uchiha Akira quickly shifted his gaze to the ninjutsu and Uchiha's swordsmanship. In terms of swordsmanship, he doesn't have a suitable ninja sword in his hand and can only temporarily give up. Having a Sharingan, even if it's just a single Goyu, he usually wants to learn those C-level ninjutsu skills quickly. However, no one showed him how to copy them, and Uchiha Akira doesn't know the effect of his Sharingan copy. He can only self-study. In the original work, Uchiha Itachi learned how to play Hokage by taking a glance at the demonstration made by Uchiha Fuyue. Uchiha Sasuke was not so outrageous, but after a glance, he was able to ignite a flame and only practiced hard for an afternoon before successfully learning it. Yuzhibo Mingjing doesn't know how much his talent is compared to those two people. Uchiha Itachi's talent is incredibly high, but Uchiha Sasuke was also the chief graduate of his generation, and his qualifications were definitely very high. No one demonstrated or taught, and Yuzhibo Mingjing could only rely on his own speculation to constantly try during the absence of classes every morning and evening. However, even so, a few days later, the Uchiha mirror fully unleashed a giant fireball for the first time. Is this the power of ninjutsu? Yuzhibo Mingjing stood in front of the pit burned out by his powerful fireball technique, with a surprised expression on his face. The sand at the bottom of the pit has turned into crystals under high temperature. Time is almost up, it's time to go to ninja school too. Glancing at the time on the watch on his wrist, Yuzhibo Mingjing turned around and left the training ground. This watch is actually a reincarnation watch brought by him from the space of reincarnation, but now even that space of reincarnation is no longer there, and Uchiha Akira has not figured out what this watch does. Fortunately, it is still possible to use it as a normal time watch. In today's ninja world, although a watch is considered a rare item, wearing it on the hand is not abrupt and does not arouse suspicion from others. Bringing a bento home and arriving at school, Yuzhibo Mingjing noticed that the atmosphere at school today seemed a bit off. The homeroom teacher, Hai Dai-chan, looked serious, and the other Nakano teachers were no exception. Shouldn't it be the leader coming to inspect? Is it Huiying or other high-rise buildings in the village? When everyone in the class arrived, the big black boat headed straight towards the podium. Uchiha Akira only then noticed that the Kurano ship was not carrying a textbook under her armpit as before. Classmates, we won't have class today. A group of students were about to cheer, but they were suppressed by the hands of the black wild boat. Because the Huiying office issued an order last night, this year's 4th and 5th grade students will undergo graduation assessments in advance. The classroom suddenly exploded, and even the big black boat had something to say, it couldn't stop the students chattering. In their teens, it is time to enjoy fantasies, especially when these students are not aware of the cruelty of reality and always hold unrealistic ideas about the future. Just like some people, when they are in their teens, they may struggle whether it's better to attend Tsinghua or Peking University. Graduated early. Last year, I only graduated those students who were preparing for graduation class 1 year earlier. This year, even 2 grades of students graduated early. It seems that the pressure on Kiba on the front line should be great now, and he urgently needs cannon fodder. Yuzhibo Mingjing muttered to himself, looking at the chaos in the classroom. Inuzuka's paw is curious about what the graduation assessment questions for this year are. Jing Tai stepped on the table with one foot and shouted loudly, proclaiming to the whole class that graduation as a ninja was just his first step towards becoming Hokage. Some people are also worried that they may not pass the assessment. However, Mingjing considered that his class is a key class, and the students in it are either from the ninja ethnic group or have good talents and great potential, so they should not be unable to graduate. After a long time, when the excitement of these students finally subsided, the big black boat finally took out a document from its pocket. Because I graduated early, this year's exam questions were also set on the spot, which is somewhat different from previous years. This exam does not have a written test, but mainly focuses on practical experience. There will be 2 rounds of question extraction, one of which will be a demonstration of the 3-body technique in front of the examiner, and the second round will be the key to this graduation assessment, which will greatly determine your future class division. In the second question, you will compete with those who have graduated for a year and have the same serial number. The specific assessment score will be evaluated based on your performance in the competition. However, at this moment, those excited students still didn't listen much to what Kurano Oka was saying. 2 exam questions. Yuzhibo Mingjing pondered to himself. The previous exam question is considered a regular one, and there is not much difference from previous years. You should be able to successfully graduate and become a ninja by passing this first exam question. So the role of this second question is very obvious. For diversion. Just like sometimes during exams, in order to ensure that most students can pass, the teacher may set a certain proportion of basic questions. However, in order to detect which students have better grades, they may also set some difficult questions to comprehensively evaluate their learning outcomes. The second exam question is to compete with a ninja who has graduated for a year. Both have undergone 1 year of training under the guidance of either the upper ninja or the middle ninja, and not only have a higher level of physical development, but also have more practical experience. The vast majority of ninja school students should find it difficult to defeat their opponents. Chapter 5, It's Okay. A few minutes is already great. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Being able to defeat Nishinobu, who had already graduated for a year, during his time as a ninja trainee is rare and basically considered a genius in the conventional sense. The design of this graduation assessment is mostly to distinguish between mediocre and truly high-potential individuals. The former may not be able to allocate any powerful guidance, and may even have to be eliminated as cannon fodder on the battlefield. The latter should receive better resources and protection. Now, let's start drawing lots. The students who were called to draw the numbers will go to the playground downstairs for assessment. Kurano Daisuke pulled out a box from under his desk and placed it on the podium. Students come up to the stage one by one to draw. After finishing drawing the Uchiha mirror, open it and take a look. Transformation technique number 27. Mingjing, what is your exam question? Inuzukuro saw Uchiha Akira walking down from the stage and asked curiously. Transformation technique. My skill is clone art, but unfortunately, the clan hasn't taught me in Haimaru or clone yet, otherwise I could easily get a high score in this question. The orc avatar of the Inutsuka clan can transform a ninja into a clone similar to oneself. Not only can it also use some of the Inutsuka clan's ninjutsu, but it also has excellent resistance to attacks compared to other avatars. At the same time, the realism of the avatar is also very high, and general perceptual ninjutsu is completely unrecognizable, making it a very excellent avatar. It's okay, the first question shouldn't be important. Whether you can achieve a high enough score mostly depends on your performance in the second question, which can better demonstrate practical skills. Moreover, your ordinary clone, Claw, is actually well learned. Yuzhi comforted the mirror. Kazuka's paws caressed Haimaru's head and said. I don't know how strong those graduates' endurance skills are, but I hope they don't assign me a too strong opponent. Yuzhibo Mingjing doesn't care about this. During this period of time at the ninja school, he has become aware of his current level of strength. After all, these students of the same age group have never heard of anyone who can master C-level ninjutsu in 4th grade, let alone having the Sharingan, a weapon that can bring significant bonuses in battles. It is rare to be able to open the Sharingan before the age of 10. In addition, inheriting the excellent ninja cultivation that is almost the top of the same class, the chief identity of this class should be able to be firmly won. It is impossible that a CEO will not be assigned one Shangren as a mentor. At this moment, Jing Tai, who had just been called to participate in the assessment, returned. His serial number is number 2, which is the first batch to participate in the assessment. Jing Tai, how did you do on the exam? Inuzuka's pause whispered to Inoue. Don't worry, the examiner looks quite gentle and even praised me for using my stunt doubles very well. What about the second question? Will the senior Xiaoren across from you be very strong? Jing felt embarrassed and scratched his head. I was not very lucky. I fell in love with a person with a white eye, but after only delaying for a few minutes, I was knocked down by the other person with a soft fist. It's okay, a few minutes is already very strong. Kenzuka Claw comforted. Quickly, Inoue regained his composure. It's just a small setback. When I become a ninja, I will definitely train even harder, then become a hero of the village in the war, and finally become Hokage. Yuzhibo Mingjing felt that this guy had been slightly poisoned by the fire will of the ape flying Sunday. However, being able to hold on for a few minutes under the watchful Xia Ren's command should not be considered too bad. Soon, it was Inuzuka's turn to play again. Her serial number is 19, ranking in the second batch to enter the examination room. Coming from the ninja tribe, she has a much better foundation in all aspects than Inoue, and has not matched any formidable opponents. Her final results should be relatively ideal. After Kazuka's claws came out, it wasn't long before it was the turn of 10 people, including Uchiha Akira, to enter the examination room. On the high platform of the playground, a handsome man with light blue long hair sat on it. Sitting on either side of him were several accompanying examiners, and below him were 10 older-looking candidates named Xia Ren. Not far away, there is also a group of others waiting outside. They are all other people's exam questions. For these ninjas, this can be considered a D-level task that is both easier than catching cats and much easier than clearing rivers. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the main examiner for your graduation assessment. Kato Duan, your batch of exam questions is about transformation techniques, and I will ask you to become like me. Kato Duan smiled and said. Now, you can start showcasing your transformation techniques. As Kato's words fell, white smoke quickly emitted from the field. 10 Kato Duan stood neatly in the field, but some of them had clothing styles that differed from Kato Duan's. There was even one who, due to being too nervous, still had his hair in its original color and did not turn into the same light blue as Kato Duan. Transformation not only tests the transformation itself, but also the basic observation and imitation abilities of a ninja. From a person's appearance to their movements, demeanor, and voice, they are all very important. Yuzhibo's mirror naturally did not show the problems that other people had, and even had the same faint smile as Kato Duan on his face. Officer Kato, may I ask if you can start the next exam now? Uchiha Akira took a step forward and said with a smile, his demeanor, movements, and voice were all very close to Kato Takashi himself. Kato's smile grew even stronger on his face. Is it the Yuzhibo mirror? It's an excellent transformation technique. Now, you can cancel the transformation technique and start your next exam. After Kato Duan finished speaking, waves of white smoke emerged, and 10 Kato Duans returned to their original appearance. At the same time, 10 ninjas stepped out one after another, standing opposite each candidate and reminding them to distance themselves from others to avoid affecting their respective battles. Everyone, it's still the usual practice to have a student carefully observe the grading. As for the Yuzhi mirror, just leave it to me. Kato Duan whispered a command to several examiners around him, then walked down the high platform and stood next to Uchiha Akira and his opponent. Across from the mirror of Uchiha, there is a young man with half-long hair named Nishin, whose clothes have a moon emblem tattooed on them. Moonlight Whirlwind. The opposite person, Xia Nin, made a brief self-introduction and then extended a hand to the Uchiha mirror, forming a seal of opposition. Yuzhi mirror. Mingjing made the same action. So now, let's get started. As Kato Duan raised his arm high and swung it, Uchiha Akira instantly took out swords from his ninja bag in his waist and threw them towards the direction of the Moonlight Whirlwind. Chapter 6. Victory. You are listening at novelfull.audio. However, Moonlight Whirlwind clearly did not underestimate these swords in hand, because everyone knows that Yuzhi is a group of people who can play with swords in their hands. The first reaction of the Moonlight Whirlwind is to dodge. But after these swords flew out, they suddenly turned into two in mid-air, changing their trajectory. This is a technique in the Uzi Wave Flow hand sword, called Shadow Hand Sword. It is similar to the hand sword shadow clone technique invented by the third-generation Hokage monkey Flying Sun Slash, but the principles, difficulty, and power of the two are completely different. The latter is an A-level ninjutsu, which is derived from the B-level ninjutsu of Shadow Saber through the use of a hand sword. The former's principle is to use illusion like invisibility to pinch two hand swords tightly and throw them out, so that the hand sword can be split in half after flying out, causing unexpected effects. After the Moonlight Whirlwind deftly turned around and dodged the sword in his hand, Yuzhi Mingjing once again pulled the elastic thread wrapped around his finger and pulled the sword back in his hand. Even as they flew back, these swords kept colliding with each other, changing their paths, making it even more difficult to avoid. Yuzhi Boyu, wield the sword in your hand. However, the Moonlight Whirlwind clearly had some skills. After seeing the strange and difficult-to-dodge path of the sword in his hand, he immediately drew out his ninja sword from his waist, exerted his strength, and swung it like a windmill, bouncing all the swords in his hand. Then, with a step, his body seemed to be like an arrow from a string, and he charged towards the Uchiha mirror with his sword. Obviously, his basic swordsmanship skills are extremely solid. And just as Uchiha's mirror was drawn out, the figure of the charged Moonlight Whirlwind suddenly disappeared into the field. Is this too done? It seems that this Xia Ren from the Moonlight family is a very talented Xia Ren. Kato Duan couldn't help but wonder how Uchiha Akira would treat this scene. Among the bloodstains in the realm of ninja, Tudun does not appear particularly prominent. Any more powerful character can basically solve Tudun's invisibility effect. However, bloodstains are ultimately bloodstains. Even the worst bloodstains have an overwhelming advantage in the lower and middle stages of endurance, when facing ninjas who have not opened other blood inheritance limits. From the current display of swordsmanship and translucency in Moonlight Whirlwind, if one could have one or two more ninjutsus that can form long-range strikes, they could already be called the elites in the realm of lower ninja. This kind of strength is obviously beyond the standard for students at ninja school. Fortunately, Yuzhi Mingjing is not considered a normal ninja school student either. His eyes quickly closed and opened, revealing his unique Sharingan. Everything around seemed to slow down, and the chakra flow on everyone's bodies was clearly visible to Uchiha Akira. Including Chakra, who is preparing to attack the Moonlight Cyclone from the side. At this moment, he is more prominent than anyone around him, because there is a layer of chakra attached to him that can form an invisibility effect. Zheng. The crisp sound of metal collision sounded, and the Uchiha mirror, relying on the powerful dynamic vision and insight bestowed by the Sharingan, began to engage in close combat with the Moonlight Whirlwind. After seeing the Sharingan of the Uchiha mirror, Moonlight Whirlwind decisively closed the tantra. The most feared aspect of Tudun is the perception of ninjas and ninjas with bloodstains in their pupils. Since they know they will be seen through, it's better to simply close two done and save chakras. But the mirror dare not close the writing will I. The other party graduated 1 year ahead of schedule last year, while I graduated 2 years ahead of schedule, resulting in a difference of 2 years in age. In this age group, there is a significant difference in physical development for every year difference. In terms of physical fitness, I am indeed not as good as the other party. In addition, the swordsmanship of Moonlight Whirlwind is equally solid and unparalleled. Even if one can perceive the flaws with their Sharingan, the opponent can still defend in a timely manner. Unfortunately, it would be great if I could master the illusion of hand-will eyes. Yuzhi sighed inwardly in the mirror. If you know how to write will eye illusions, you only need to stare at the flaws and maybe you can succeed. Unless the other party can fight like Metki, only looking at the soles of their feet. If it's just if, he knows very well now that he can only rely on the power of the Sharingan to stand in a stalemate with the Moonlight Whirlwind, but if this continues, chakra will definitely not be enough. He knows that changes must be made as soon as possible. Ninjutsu is used at this time. Immediately, Yuzhibo Mingjing sold a small flaw while using his ninja sword that was unable to block the Moonlight Whirlwind, causing the opponent to kick him up. He, who was already prepared, took advantage of this opportunity to kick his left foot on the ground, lift his right foot up, and hit the Moonlight Whirlwind's leg heavily. At the same time, he exerted his left leg forward, causing his body to quickly retreat backwards. Taking advantage of this opportunity to widen the distance, quickly seal with both hands. Siwei Shanhai Wu Yin. Fire escape. The art of Hail Wokyu. A huge fireball quickly spewed out from the mouth of Uchiha Akira and charged fiercely towards the direction of the Moonlight Whirlwind. Moonlight Whirlwind was clearly a bit panicked, but as a member of the Moonlight clan who only produced one seed after several years, he clearly had other means. Wind escape. Great breakthrough. A strong wind also spewed out from the mouth of the Moonlight Whirlwind, blocking the giant fireball of the Uchiha mirror in front. It's just that he sealed too late, and by the time ninjutsu was successfully released, the fireball had already arrived in front of him. The Moonlight Whirlwind could only barely maintain its escape, trying its best to blow away the giant fireball ahead, but the fireball continued to advance in its direction. Chakras with wind attributes are restrained by fire attributes. Obviously, his expertise in wind attribute chakra has not yet reached a level where he can to some extent smooth out the gap. He can only watch as the fireball continues to advance towards him. The intense heat it brings, combined with the tension in his heart, causes sweat beads to continuously flow from the forehead of the Moonlight Whirlwind. At this moment, Kato Duan, who was standing by the sidelines, knew that it was time for him to step forward. Obviously, the Moonlight Cyclone has no other means to deal with this situation. Tuduan, Tuliu Wall. A sturdy earthen wall rose in front of the Moonlight Whirlwind, blocking the ninjutsu of the two. So, this battle ends here for now, and the final result is that Uchiha Akira wins. Kato Duan announced very decisively. Moonlight Whirlwind opened its mouth, wanting to say something. But the next moment, the Uchiha mirror in front of him suddenly turned into a wooden stake and fell to the ground. I have no doubt, it mainly depends on whether he agrees with your judgment, examiner. The figure of Yuzhibo Mingjing suddenly emerged from a corner on the side. Moonlight Whirlwind was momentarily stunned, but on the contrary, Kato Duan suddenly laughed. Chapter 7. Pension. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Exciting tactical design. I wonder if the opponent still has the means to counter the fireball. Do you plan to use stunt doubles when the enemy shows their trump card in the end, before the fireball can dissipate and block the line of sight, and sneak attacks when the opponent thinks they have won and relaxes their guard? Kato Duan comprehensively inferred all of Akira's tactics. After listening to Kato Duan's explanation, Moonlight Whirlwind finally convinced himself. Not to mention that he really doesn't have any means to counter the other party. Even if he does, Uchiha Akira still has other means. Hey! Moonlight Whirlwind sighed and then stepped forward to form a reconciliation seal with Uchiha Akira. You guy. The Moonlight Whirlwind shook its head. I thought I was an excellent presence in the same class of ninjas, but I didn't expect to lose to a ninja trainee. I'm afraid I'll be laughed at by my teammates when I go back now. I can tell that you are actually very strong. Uchiha Akira also smiled. In fact, I don't have many chakras left. I can only play tricks, otherwise I will definitely lose to you. Losing means losing, otherwise, ninja combat, intelligence, and tactics are one of the most important keys. Moonlight Whirlwind patted the shoulder of Yuzhi Mingjing. I'm waiting for you to become a big shot in the village, so even if I lose to you, it won't be a shame then. On the sidelines, Kato Duan nodded lightly as he watched the scene on his face. The younger generation in the village are also getting better and better. Country 1. Jing Tai looked at Yuzhibo Mingjing with an incredulous expression. Surprisingly defeated our two seniors who have graduated for a year. Mingjing Jun, it seems that you should be the chief of this graduation assessment. Kazuka's paw also showed a shocked expression. The story of Akira defeating 2 generations of Nishinobu has already spread among ninjas of the same period. Because he is the only one who has defeated his opponent in this assessment so far. At that time, they were divided into 10 groups in terms of operation to compete. When the competition between Uchiha Akira and Moonlight Whirlwind ended, many candidates had already finished the competition and witnessed the scene of Uchiha Akira with Sharingan open and engaging in a fierce battle with Moonlight Whirlwind. In fact, the students in the class where Yuzhibo Mingjing is located all did well in the exams. After all, it is a key class, and in such times of war, Mu Yi, who urgently lacks combat power, will not make people unable to complete their studies. It is just that their level is not up to par. As long as they can use chakras and throw swords, they can also become a low-level cannon fodder that attracts the attention of the enemy in the battlefield. After the graduation assessment was over, Kurano Daisuke once again stood on the podium, calling the students up one by one and personally wearing ninja protectors with wooden leaves on their forehead. Whenever a student stands on the podium, he always carefully looks at the students in front of him for a while and strives to remember his appearance. If one day they go to the battlefield but cannot come back alive, then my teacher may be the only one who still remembers them. However, this does not mean that it will be the last meeting between these students and Kurano Oshima. Because in 3 days, they will still be here for class division. So, goodbye in 3 days. Yuzhibo Mingjing picked up his backpack and said goodbye to his 2 companions. Akira, you will be the first one this time, but in the future, the person who will first become Nakano and finally become Hokage will definitely be me, Mr. Inoue. Don't be caught up with me so quickly, otherwise it will be very boring for me to chase after you. Jing Tai shouted loudly, and together with Kenzuka Claw and Uchiha Akira, they parted ways at the door. When Mingjing returned home, a member of the police department quickly notified him to go see the clan chief. The former chieftain of Yuzhibo passed away last year, and the current chieftain who has just taken over is the former junior chieftain, Yuzhibo Fuyue. He is in his early 20s and even has a strong physique among Yuzhibo, who has 3 jade riding will eyes. In addition, his father's connections are still there, and the conflict between Yuzhibo and the village has not been magnified due to the Nine Tails rebellion. Therefore, this chieftain's position is relatively stable. Yuzhibo Mingjing had long guessed that he would receive this notice soon after returning to his tribe. Because the Uchiha clan attaches great importance to their bloodline, and places even greater emphasis on those who can open the Sharingan. With Uchiha's intelligence ability, it is certain that they already know what they have opened their eyes to. After politely seeing off the police officer who came to inform him, Mingjing washed her face slightly, tidied up her attire, and then set off for the clan chief's mansion. This is a polite way of dealing with people and things, especially when you are going to see your own clan leader this time. I hope this clan leader can be more generous and give some good rewards to the new generation of geniuses in his clan. The mansion of the clan leader's family is very imposing, and the bright mirror makes the eyes fiery. There is even a small pond inside. Nowadays, Uchiha is not like when he moved to the suburbs of Kiba after the Nine Tails Rebellion. As a family that established Kiba together with Chisho, Uchiha's current clan land happens to be close to the center of Kiba, which can be said to be every inch of land and every inch of gold. Anyone who sees this magnificent mansion here would envy it. Reception Hall. The interior here is elegant and luxurious, even the floor is covered with a layer of exquisite and gorgeous carpet. In the center of the wall hangs a huge picture, which is the red and white fan emblem of the Uchiha clan. Your Highness, clan leader. Yuzhibo Mingjing sat meticulously on the tatami mat, addressing the young man in front of him with a deep hatred and mature face. Mingjing Jun, you're here. Yuzhibo Fuyue really wanted to show his kindness to the newly emerging geniuses in his family, but how could he grow up like this? Even though he tried hard to smile, his expression on his face still looked so serious. I remember, you were the child of the Qianji and Linnai clans. I believe they would feel proud to see today that they have already opened their Sharingan and grown into a unique Uchiha. Yuzhibo Fuyue pushed the fully poured teacup towards Mingjing and played the family card at the same time. Your Highness, I am just a newly graduated ninja. There is still a big gap between becoming a solo ninja. Yuzhibo Mingjing habitually said a humble sentence. Yuzhibo Fuyue finally struggled to squeeze out a smile on his face. My relationship with Brother Qianji is very good. When I first joined the police force, Brother Qianji took many photos of me. Yuzhibo Fuyue said with a hint of recollection. His relationship with Uchiha Kiyoshi was actually good, and the latter did show some care for him initially. Mainly because Fuyue was the son of the clan chief, so everyone in the police force took good care of him. Chapter 8. The Recruitment of Fuyue. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Nowadays, you have also opened up your Sharingan and become an excellent Uchiha. What's even more rare is that you are only 10 years old. The timing of eye opening is actually not absolutely related to future development, and those who open their eyes late may not necessarily become strong. But relatively speaking, the earlier you open your eyes, the more time you can leave for this Uchiha to evolve and right will eyes. Emotions are most easily excited during the developmental stage, and it is also when Uchiha's Sharingan is most likely to evolve. As they age to a certain extent, their ability to control emotions becomes stronger, and the difficulty of opening and evolving Sharingan naturally increases. Therefore, the Uchiha clan also believes that the earlier they open their eyes, the more likely they are to reach a higher level of writing will eyes in the future. Even in the original time and space, Uchiha Fuyue let Itachi witness the cruelty of war when he was 5 years old, trying to make him open his eyes. Every eye-catching member of the clan is the most precious treasure of the clan, and the clan will do its best to cultivate you. I hope that in the future, you can also become a powerful ninja and not let down your noble bloodline and Uchiha surname. Speaking of which, Yuzhibo Fuyue took out a seal scroll from under the table and placed it on the table. According to the tradition within the clan, for every member who has opened the Sharingan, the clan will provide a subsidy of 500,000 taels of silver, along with the death compensation for the Qianji and Linnai clan's brothers. Pension. Yuzhibo Mingjing suddenly frowned and realized something. He has never heard of the pension, and it has been such a long time, and he has not seen any trace of the pension. Yuzhibo Fuyue's eyes suddenly changed, even opening up Sanguyu's writing wheel. Mingjing, do you mean? You haven't received the pension? Yuzhibo Fuyue's already deep voice now became even heavier. Yuzhibo shook his head with a clear mirror. Seeing this, Yuzhibo Fuyue closed his eyes and began to ponder deeply. I have just taken over as the clan leader, and those stubborn people have actually done such a thing suddenly. Mingjing realized that her original pension had been embezzled, and she obediently sat in her seat, drinking tea non-stop. It has to be said that the tea from the clan leader's family is indeed good tea. Even people like Ming Jing who don't know much about tea know that it is good tea when drinking it. After sitting quietly for a long time, Yuzhi Fuyue finally opened his eyes, and the jade in his eyes gradually faded away. Mirror. Your Highness, clan leader. Don't worry, you are the Uchiha elite who has activated the Sharingan. If it's yours, it must be yours. Even Huiying cannot take it away. By the way, after activating the Sharingan, you can go to the clan treasury to exchange for a ninjutsu. Take my token and go. Also, remember to come to Nanha Shrine tonight to attend this clan meeting. After Yuzhi Fuyue finished speaking, he took out a token from his pocket and handed it to Ming Jing. January 9th is the birthday of Indra, therefore, the clan meetings of Uchiha are scheduled on the 9th of each month, and are attended by all Uchiha elites who have activated the Sharingan. As for January 9th every year, the clan association is held even more grandly, and all members of the clan can participate, which can be considered a unique festival of the Uchiha clan. Chief, if there's nothing else, I'll leave first. Yuzhi Fuyue nodded and watched as the mirror exited the door. He stood up and looked at the pond in the small courtyard outside the window with his hands down. He, Yuzhi Fuyue, achieved great success at a young age. Not only did he become a powerful ninja at a young age, opening the 3 Goyu Sharingan, but he also inherited the position of clan leader of Yuzhi, a millennium-old wealthy family. There are not many peers in my village who do not envy him. However, Yuzhi Fuyue, the clan leader, was not happy to be appointed. Because he is too young, although he is also the upper ninja of Sangoyu, he has not yet had the chance to establish his reputation in the ninja world. And Yuzhi has always believed only in his strength. If he doesn't show enough strength to deserve the position of clan leader, then his clan leader will always be nominal. Power is still held by the older generation of clan elders. Most of those tribal leaders came from the Warring States period, and they mostly witnessed Uchiha and Shishuzu leading their tribe to establish my village in their youth, with considerable experience. They still maintain the old thinking and way of doing things from the Warring States period, and in their view, Mai was established by Qianshou and Yuzhi together. When Mai was just established, the Ape Flying clan was only a small tribe that could only rely on Yuzhi's breath. They couldn't bear to see the Ape Flying sun slaying sitting on their heads as a fire shadow to bully them, and it was not pleasant to have a quarrel with the current village leaders. In short, the newly appointed clan leader Yuzhi Fuyue has great dissatisfaction with the current situation of Yuzhi and even greater dissatisfaction with these clan elders who hold power. This time, Yuzhi Fuyue saw an opportunity. The opportunity to seize power. If it is a civilian ninja, there will generally be a dedicated portion of the compensation for the death of Konoha ninjas. Even if they are greedy, these civilian ninjas from small families will not cause much trouble even if they sue them. The words of the ninja clan are not easy to provoke. These departments directly transfer money to these ninja clans, and the family distributes it to the ninja family members. Even wealthy families like Yukibo Rishiang will provide additional subsidies within the clan. Now, based on the performance of Uchiha Akira, there must be some issues with the key points, which may become an excuse for Uchiha Fuyue to make a fuss about it. From ancient times to the present, the causes of countless major events in history may only be caused by extremely small events from a macro-historical perspective. He, Yuzhi Fuyue, will use this incident to reclaim a portion of the power that belongs to his clan leader. And Yuzhi Fuyue's gaze shifted towards the door. This junior has a good talent, and his personality has improved significantly compared to other members who are crazy and boundless at first glance. I heard that he is still the chief of this generation, and he started writing will eyes at a young age. If he could take this opportunity to bring him under his command, it would be impossible to say that in a few years, his subordinates would have a trusted confidant at the level of tolerance. Thinking of this, Yuzhi Fuyue invited a reliable old servant from his home and presented him with a new token. If you go and catch up with Ming Jing-jun, just say that I have a lot of affairs and was confused for a while. I just gave him the wrong token and went to get this token to replace it for him. Also, tell him not to worry. As the head of the Yuzhibo clan, I have an obligation to protect every outstanding genius in the clan. Chapter 9. Yuzhi Boyu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey. Yuzhibo Mingjing is a bit distressed. At first, it was a good thing. The pension that should have belonged to him was inexplicably coveted by someone. Now, looking at Yuzhibo Fuyue's appearance, it seems that he is planning to use the topic again, afraid that he will be involved in this matter. Whether it's the fighting tactics of the high-level members of the clan or the entanglement between the entire Uchiha and the high-level members of Myoba, it's not something that I can withstand as a small person. Unless you can find a powerful support on your own when feeling distressed in my heart, I found that the road ahead was blocked by someone I didn't know. Excuse me. The clan chief has something to say. He has a lot of affairs and took the wrong token. He asked you to replace it with this one. The person took out a token with a finer texture and handed it to Ming Jing. The chieftain also said that as a chieftain, he will protect every outstanding genius in the clan. The young Yuzhibo looked at Yuzhibo's mirror with a slightly profound expression in his eyes. Looking at the other person's gaze, Ming Jing suddenly woke up. Yuzhibo Fuyue is planning to win him over. Or, to put it another way, if Akira becomes a member of the clan leader's lineage within the family, as an open-minded Uchiha, or even Uchiha, who started writing will eyes at the age of 10, Akira is fully qualified to attract the recruitment of the clan leader. I just wanted a support, so I came here. Taking the wrong token or something is just a cover, the true meaning is actually that new token. If you take it, you will be labeled as a clan leader. Ming Jing decisively took the token with 3 carved jade patterns and spoke. The kindness of the clan leader is remembered in the mirror. As a member of Uchiha's clan, I will definitely support the clan leader's side. Yuzhibo understood the meaning behind Ming Jing's words and nodded in satisfaction. With this token in place, you can be considered a member of the police forces department directly under the minister's command. Subsequently, the elderly Uchiha leaned his mouth slightly towards the ear of Uchiha's mirror. The clan elder Yuzhi Boyu, who guards the clan treasury, is the confidant of the former clan chief and a staunch supporter of the clan elders. Show him this token and he will help guide you well. After speaking, he patted the shoulder of Yuzhibo Mingjing and walked slowly back. It seems that as long as I take this token, everyone will assume that I am the leader of the clan. Yuzhibo looked at the exquisitely carved patterns on the token in his hand with a clear mirror, pondering to himself. However, from the current perspective, this is indeed a good thing. At least in the next 20 years, Yuzhibo Fuyue will be able to firmly hold the position of this clan leader. However, this clan leader is not yet fully fledged, and from the perspective of the future plot, he is also an indecisive character. Even if he awakens to the kaleidoscope Sharingan in the future, he dare not use it. His prestige and strength shown to the outside world are relatively low among Yuzhibo's previous clan leaders. Being able to firmly hold the position of clan leader does not mean he has the ability to do things. Now he can use it as a support, but in the future, he still has to rely on himself. The world of ninja is ultimately a place where strength speaks. Yuzhibo is a family that is extremely passionate about strength. If you are an upper ninja, everyone in the village will look up to you by 1 point, even Yuzhibo is the same. If you have the strength at the level of shadow, as long as you are not a foolish and loyal person like Chimu Shuamao, you can do well anywhere. No matter how proud Yuzhibo is, he will show some respect to strong people at this level. Yuzhibo Fuyue may be thinking of using himself now, and after a few years, his subordinates can have an additional upper endurance combat power. However, if his future self can also achieve shadow-level combat power, his position within the clan may not be below his clan leader, and only at that level can he possibly change the future fate of the Yuzhibo clan. Even if one possesses the strength of Bana and others, not to mention the head of the Uchiha clan, even the position of Hokage is not highly regarded. With that strength, why not build your own power and directly unify the ninja realm? Of course, those are also too far away for the current Mingjing. For him, who is still just a patient, Yuzhi Fuyue can help himself stand out while also benefiting himself. It is a waste not to hold on to his thighs like this. As long as Yuzhi Fuyue doesn't do anything to disappoint him, Yuzhi Mingjing is willing to give him a reward in the future. In thought, a building with an ancient design and a huge Uchiha fan emblem painted on its surface appeared in front of Mingjing. This is the clan library of Uchiha. It not only stores a large amount of ninjutsu collected by the Uchiha clan, but also many rare treasures, such as various precious medicinal herbs, famous swords mixed with chakra metal, and boutique ninjutsu items purchased from the Ninja Cat clan. In this important place, there are clan elders at the upper level of ninja sitting down. Yuzhi Boyu swayed and leaned back on the lounge chair, seemingly nourishing his mind, but in reality, he was using his spiritual perception ability to silently observe any movement that occurred within the clan treasury, in order to prevent the petty from breaking in. Is there another tribe member coming? Strange, there aren't many chakras, but their mental strength is quite good. Yuzhi Boyu looked surprised and opened his eyes, looking out the door. There, a young Uchiha boy wearing a light blue shirt was slowly approaching. Elder Yu, I am Yuzhi Mingjing. On the order of the clan leader, I have come to collect ninjutsu. Yuzhi took out the token and handed it to a thin old man in front of him for inspection. Yuzhi Boyu took the token and looked at the young man in front of him. Mirror. This name. Yuzhi Boyu quickly searched in his mind. The total number of people in the Yuzhi clan is only a few hundred. As a clan elder who is very concerned about the family situation, he remembers the names of the vast majority of people in the clan. I remember you were the child of that kid Shinji. Being able to start writing will eyes at this age, you are much more talented than your father. I hope you can also be like your father and not fall into the reputation of Uchiha. Yuzhi patted the shoulder of the mirror with a feather. Death on the battlefield is the last and most important honor of a Uchiha's life. Yuzhi Boyu silently looked at the young man in front of him. Are you here to open your eyes? Mingjing nodded. Age? Yuzhi Boyu asked again. Akira thought this was a routine registration before receiving ninjutsu, and she needed to inquire about her age and family situation. 10 years old. Did you open your eyes at the age of 10? Because of your parents. Yuzhi Boyu let out a leisurely sigh and then looked at the young man in front of him with a delicate face. Opening the Sharingan at the age of 10 has a high probability of evolving it to a higher level in the future. Moreover, in his perception just now, Akira's spiritual power is also quite strong, so strong that it does not seem like the spiritual energy that this age should have. Even if he opens the Sharingan, it is almost equivalent to the spiritual energy generated by the souls of two people. Chapter 10. Clan Association. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It seems that he is a talented younger generation, and he was promoted by the young man Fuyue, worthy of cultivation. Yuzhi Boyu slowly thought to himself. If I'm not mistaken, Shenji and Lina should have left you with quite a few low-level ninjutsu skills. Yuzhi nodded with a clear mirror, indicating that it was indeed the case, while adding, Elder Yu, I have self-taught and learned the art of the Haohua ball. He is trying his best to showcase his value in order to obtain better resources for cultivation. Yuzhi Boyu stroked his beard, glanced at Yuzhi Boyu's mirror, and said. Very good, the 3C-level ninjutsus of Heihokyu, Fengxian Fire, and Dragon Fire, are the most fundamental and important ninjutsus in Uchiha's fire escape system. Only by mastering these three ninjutsus can one be qualified to continue studying high-level ninjutsus within the clan. Like the Haohua ball, if the form change of Hueduan is added, the technique of Haohua destruction can be derived. If the nature change of Hueduan is added to the basis of the dragon fire technique, it is the foundation of Heilonghuo, a ninjutsu. In addition, there is also the Phoenix Flower Claw Red, which is closely related to the Phoenix Immortal Fire technique. You are not qualified to learn high-level ninjutsu yet, while you are not lacking in low-level ninjutsu. Therefore, next, listen carefully with your ears, read carefully with your writing will eyes, and see carefully. Because what I will teach you are the other two basic fire escape ninjutsu, and how to continue to improve your fire escape skills on the basis of these three fire escape ninjutsus. After Yuzhi Boyu finished speaking, he suddenly stood up from the recliner and led the mirror out. As soon as the mirror's eyes lit up, he followed up with a thud. The clan leader's thigh is really easy to hold. As soon as he was held, he was guided by a ninja at the level of Yuzhi Boyu, and what he taught was not just a ninjutsu according to the rules. In fact, Yuzhi Boyu did not intend to teach Mingjing and other things solely because of Yuzhi Boyu Fuyue. As an elderly man in his 70s, his strength has long declined and he can only do the easy job of guarding the clan treasury. However, his more than 60 years of ninja career have given him a different perspective. From Yuzhi Bo Fuyue, to the former clan leader, and then to the previous Yuzhi Boban, as well as his father Yuzhi Badian Island, Yuzhi Boyu has experienced 4 Yuzhi Bo clan leaders. He can be said to be a true elder of the 4 dynasties, with extremely high qualifications and influential influence within the clan. Even Yuzhi Bo Fuyue had to bow obediently and call out his clan uncle when he saw him. He knew how powerful Yuzhibo was during his peak period, and now how much weaker Yuzhibo was compared to when the village was built, so he naturally had some worries in his heart. At the age of 10, Uchiha Akira opened his Sharingan. His talent in Sharingan is undoubtedly not lacking, and he possesses such powerful spiritual energy, which can be considered a promising future. In Yuzhi Boyu's opinion, he is likely to grow into a pillar supporting Yuzhi Boyu's family in the future, and he will naturally give dim sum to the cultivation of the younger generation of the family. Following Yuzhi Boyu's footsteps, Mingjing arrived at the entrance of the lower reaches of the Nanha River. The Nanha Shrine, where the Uchiha clan held a clan meeting, is located at a certain location downstream of the Nanha River. The first meeting between Ban and Zhu was also by the Nanha River, and perhaps the two of them were still here to see who urinated further. The small artificial lake in Yuzhibo Fuyue's home is also drained from the Nanha River. Like many rivers, the upper reaches of the Nanha River are narrow and turbulent, while the lower reaches are wide and stable, ultimately merging into a large lake. This is a good place to practice fire escape, mainly releasing the fire from a distance towards the lake, which is not easy to cause a fire. Let's start with the dragon fire technique. This technique has fewer seals and can be used with ninja tools, making it less difficult. Speaking, Yuzhi Boyu took out a kowu with a steel wire tied at the end and handed it to Yuzhi Boyu's mirror. There are only 4 seals of the dragon fire technique, which are Si Chen Mao In. Yuzhi Boyu slowly formed 4 seals in his hand, fortunately showing them more clearly in front of the mirror. And Mingjing had already opened his Sharingan, carefully watching Yuzhi Boyu's every move and the flow of chakras inside him. After extracting the chakra through binding, do not try to spit it out as hard as possible like a giant fireball, but try to condense the flame into a straight line, further concentrate the power at a single point position, and then do so again. After Yuzhi Boyu finished speaking, he spewed out a slender flame straight towards the lake, quickly darting out like a dragon. How about it? Yuzhi Boyu turned his head and asked Mingjing gently. I have already remembered it with my eyes. Yuzhibo Mingjing now understands how to speak in order to make these Yuzhibo love to listen. Just pull on your own noble and powerful bloodstain and limit writing will eyes. After listening to Mingjing's answer, Yuzhi Boyu nodded quite satisfied and said. For those of you who have just been exposed to the technique of dragon fire, it is best to use the combination of kowu and steel wire in this ninja technique, and it can also use the steel wire to better gather flames in a straight line. This training will be very helpful for you to master the changes in the form of fire escape in the future. Even, you can apply some fire oil to soak on these steel wires to accelerate the spread of flames. Yuzhi Boyu casually pointed out the way. For ninjas who are not from the ninja clan, it can be very difficult to gain the experience of these veteran ninjas without guidance from Ueno. Let's first try using kowu and steel wire to perform, and then you can improve by practicing slowly on your own. Upon hearing Yuzhi Boyu's words, Mingjing threw the painless steel wire tied at the end forward without any force. With the powerful vision of the Sharingan and excellent throwing ability of the ninja, he plunged unsteadily into a reef on the lake surface. Si Chen Mao Yin. Fire escape. Dragon fire art. The raging flames quickly burned along the steel wire and spread to the reef, burning both the wire and the reef red with the scorching temperature. Yuzhi Boyu nodded with appreciation and then continued teaching the Phoenix fire technique. For a day, in the morning, he participated in the graduation assessment. At noon, he took over the ninja guard from the Kurano ship, and in the afternoon, he went to Uchiha Fuyue's mansion again. In the last 2 hours, Akira spent the last 2 hours learning fire escape ninjutsu with Uchiha. The elderly person not only taught 2 ninjutsu skills, otherwise, they just need to cast 2 ninjutsu skills in front of Uchiha Akira and have him copy them with his Sharingan.